Welcome back to the Y'all Need Music podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Jesse.
I'm
And
Susan.
We're back. Yeah, we're back again with Susan. For those of you that watched the first half of this, like, wait a minute, Jesse wasn't here. I thought he was sick, and now he's here. And Matt and Susan are in different clothes. It was.
I thought we were gonna go with the internet trouble again, like the last episode, but
No, it was
we'll go with
actually
that
my
one.
fault. A little family emergency came up, but I do appreciate you letting me come back to finish it.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like I said, family comes first all the time. A podcast is just a podcast. Is just a podcast, right? It's not important in the grand scheme of anything. So, as fun as it is to do and have people on and talk about everything, if something came up with my family, I would drop
Family
everything and go too. So,
Absolutely.
but we left off. We had just kind of started talking a little bit about the mental health side of things. We'd gone from the sidewalk chalk into the mental health stuff. And so we'll kind of pick up there and continue on because that's such a hugely important part of society, really. And we've found with the artists that we've talked to already, and even the ones that we've got in the works, talking with management right now, that's a common theme throughout right now. And it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. It sucks that there's so many people dealing with it, but it's a great thing that it's being talked about so much more.
Yeah, I can't agree more.
Right,
That's the
right.
big part that I've noticed over the last, I've been dealing with it since I was in high school, but more so the last 14 or 15 years that it got really bad. But now that there's way more conversation, and I almost feel like there's also more availability for help too, which is good.
Yeah.
It seems like more communities kind of are rallying around the need for more mental health programs.
Yeah, I think we're still a long way off from where we need to be, but I think what happened, and you have that a lot in all sorts of facets of society, where a pendulum, swings way over here, and then it takes a while to kind of swing back. And you had people with mental health issues being institutionalized and treated horribly. And everyone was like, wait, what are we doing? We can't do this anymore. And so we shut down all these institutions, but with it lost so many of the outpatient kind of options for people as well. And then people were left with nothing at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's scary still a little bit. I think that there's people out there that can't get the help they need or don't know where to get the help they need or are still afraid to ask for the help, because that was me. It took me a long time to admit how bad I had gotten. Like I was ready to leave. I was that bad. I was ready to leave. But now I can say it. And now I can talk about it. And I think it's important to be able to do that, because then somebody that hears me or somebody else talking about it goes, okay, not as scary to open up. And then maybe they'll open up as well. And that's my hopes anyway.
Right. Yeah. And that's I think what you said. The scary part about it is that it's not, it is getting there, but it's been kind of like shunned in the past, to where you didn't want to come out and say something about, if you were suffering from this. And with a lot of people, you were scared to actually say something. But now that, it is getting more talked about, and that's Matt and I, we talk about it all the time and try to anybody we meet or talk to, we want to talk more and more about that, because that's something that, not enough people do talk about, but it's getting there, leaps and bounds what it was before, but still a long ways away. So the more people talk about it, like you were saying, sharing your story, and people are like, oh, okay, she's very successful in what she's doing, but she suffered from something of that nature. So, I can, pull through with it. So
and have lost people to their mental illness, which is also very, heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking.
Right.
Yeah, I know. For me, I grew up in California, not far from San Francisco, and it's kind of crazy. But people that have attempted to, jump off the Golden Gate Bridge and been unsuccessful have all come out and said that almost immediately after jumping,
They
there
regret.
was instant regret. And fortunately, they survived, which is incredible. And they've got a book, and they've actually put a net now. I don't know if you know that
No.
under the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like 20 foot below the deck, and sticks out a ways. So if you jump off the deck, the net is going to catch you,
Really?
because that short amount of time is what they have all said is all it took for like that instant regret. Like, why did I just do that?
Yeah.
And some of them have been fortunate enough to make it to tell those stories, to really try and change people that have gotten to that point. Like, listen, it's worth it to keep pushing on. There
Right.
is something
Right.
better on the other side of this.
Yeah.
Right.
And not to say that I'm completely never there again. It is not true. I still have some, occasional dark thoughts. Not that
Mm-hmm.
I would act on in any way, shape, or form
Right.
now, but I would have back then. But it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean I don't have them anymore, because I still do. But I
Right.
have more resources to um, understand that that's what I'm going through. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a moment in time, really, in your life. It's just a moment in time. It's not all your life. So it's
Right.
just
Yeah.
a bad minute or a bad hour or a bad day. It's not a bad life.
Right.
And that's hard to learn. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
daily struggle sometimes to just remember that, okay, focus on the positive, focus on the
Right.
positive.
Right.
And it's work. It is work. You have to, for me anyways, it's work to try and get my brain to understand that what it's saying to me isn't true.
Sure.
What
Right.
is it's saying? And my inner voice never shuts up. And that's one of my problems. It
Right.
just is always
Yep.
doing, and sometimes not positive stuff.
Right.
And I have to learn to just say, I hear you, but that's not it.
Yeah, that's I was actually my brother he suffers from mental illness, and I was actually just he was down yesterday, and I was talking with him, and and that's where we were kind of talking about that, most days are good, but then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, even with the help and the medicine and stuff like that, for whatever reason, something's going to trigger you, and you're going to have, whether it's like you said, that bad day, that bad hour, bad half a day. And that's what I told him, that it's in my family history, mental health, men's mental health mainly, where a lot of people didn't get help for it. And I even told him, I call it my bi-monthly, I'll get a day or day and a half where I'm just down in the dumps, no motivation, everything like that. And I explained to my brother that anytime I'm down like that, I force myself to work out, like
That's what it is.
instantly, to do something. And he said that's what he's been doing, is anytime he's down, he just goes for a walk a couple miles, and he goes, all of a sudden, he goes, the day's fine, and I get through it. But it's going to be something that I told him, it's probably going to be like that for the rest of your life. You're going to have to keep fighting those battles and everything. But
The
glad
good
that
thing
there's
is,
support
though, you
rings.
can find what works for you.
Yep.
Like whether it's turning music up really loud to drown that voice out,
Right.
or going for a walk, or reading a book,
Live
or
music
calling a
concerts.
friend. Yeah, you have to figure out what works for you, and the same thing doesn't work all the time for
Right.
me.
Right.
But I know that when I get there, I can recognize it easier now that I've been dealing with it for so long and have been able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can recognize it and go, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to take my shoes off and stand in the sand? Do I need to listen to music really loud? Do I need to call a friend? It's something different every time.
Well, and I think
So,
too that people, like my brother dealt with depression, and rather than take care of it the right way, he turned to the bottle. And even though he didn't commit suicide, he drank himself to death, way too young. And so many times people with mental health issues, end up going down that route of addiction as a way of treating their
Dealing.
symptoms,
Yeah.
and dealing with all of that to just get away from it, whether it be getting high, getting drunk, gambling, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's all kinds of vices. And I think that's where society still really sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that they want to be judgmental about addiction, right? And we kind
Very
of
judgmental.
oh, they're a drug addict. Well, guess what? They didn't just wake up one day and say, I want to be a drug addict,
Right.
right?
Right. They're
They
coping.
went down a path of trying to ease some sort of pain and wound up being an addict, instead.
Good
Self
point.
And
medicating. Right.
so, and Jesse and I, that's where we both connected initially was, his brother is an alcoholic. My brother was an alcoholic. And it was like, you know, we had so many things in common. And it's like, man, we barely known each other when we met. And we've got all these things in common. And it was like, this is a way bigger problem than what anybody wants to really
Right.
acknowledge.
Yeah.
Right.
We like to kind of put our blinders on. And I'm sure people do it with you because on the radio, you are always super
Happy and
chipper and
yep.
happy, and like people throw accolades at you all the time, and they're very genuine. I know I am when I tell you positive things. That's coming from my heart. That's not me just throwing bullshit on something because I'm
Blowing
not that
smoke.
guy. I'm
Mhm.
not a baker. I don't sugarcoat things. And we've loved you for a long time, and I think sometimes people think, well, how bad can it really be? You're always so happy. And they don't know somebody with depression that fakes the happiness to get through the day. Or, you
Very
know,
true.
maybe they have a week or two straight where everything is fantastic. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, they're just fine. Well, you don't know what anyone else is dealing with. And I've always had this kind of mantra, if you will, that there's nobody on this planet better than me. Not one.
Right.
The
No.
flip side is I'm not better than any single person. We're all walking a different path. I've never walked in your shoes. And, on the surface, it might be like, wow, what a great life. She's on the radio, she's going to concerts, but until I'm in your shoes and seeing what everything's all about, and then it's like, whoa, okay, maybe it's not so great as what I perceived it to be. And I don't think people stop long enough to think about that stuff, to reflect on themselves, and really want to learn and engage with other people, to know and really care. Like, if you were struggling, I hope Susan, without a doubt, you call me anytime and I'll talk to you if you're struggling, and I'll hype you up the whole time. you know I'll cry with you. I don't care about crying. It don't matter to me. And people need to know that they've got that out there.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think, like, our group of friends, everyone knows that really well. But I've met a lot of people that have groups of friends that don't know that don't feel that way.
Right. And I wish that more people had that
Mm-hmm.
accessible to them because
Right.
it's a lifesaver. It is a
Right.
lifesaver knowing that at any moment, like I appreciate what you just said too, that I could call you anytime. You could call me anytime. I've reached out to Megan a couple of times
Yeah.
just saying, you if you need to talk, I'm a good listener. I may not be able to help, but I can listen. And
Right.
sometimes that is all somebody
All you
really
need.
needs is to have somebody hear them.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you. I hear that you're hurting. I'll hold your hand, like you said. You could cry with me or whatever, and it's so important. And I wish that that more people had that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the flip side to that is that the people that don't understand the mental health side of it, like Matt was saying, there's a lot of very judgmental people out there that, oh, just deal with it, like suck it up, like, oh, you're fine.
Everybody's got
And
problems. You're in a
everybody's got
it doesn't
problems.
matter that you know that. It
Right,
doesn't.
right,
It doesn't matter that
Right.
you understand. I understand. Everybody's got problems. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's dealing with their own crap.
right,
I do understand that not everybody is compassionate about it,
right.
where
Yep.
they can just help in any way or even just listen, reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's the more that everybody talks about it, I think that hopefully eventually we will get there. And dealing with my brother personally, Matt and Megan have been a huge help to help me understand it a little bit better, to where then I can then further educate, more of my family and the friends that surround my brother. That some, kind of gave up for a while there. And I think with me kind of bringing it to light in the education, that it is an actual, illness or a disease. A lot of people don't understand that. And just by helping talk about that, I think it is bringing to light more of the friends and family to where they are more accepting and being that outlet as opposed to being dismissive or judgmental. So,
And hopefully by your talking about it too, you are encouraging them to then open up when
yep,
they have an issue or a
exactly,
problem or
exactly.
something going on mental health
Right.
wise. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah,
And like myself, if it's only, a day or two every other month, it's still something that needs to be addressed and talked about. And, for a longest time, I just was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. And then, the more I think about it, and it's like, I find out, there's history of it in the family. And I was like, I probably got a touch of something too, And so when I do have those moments, being able to open up and talk about it and stuff like that definitely helps. So hopefully we can get to that point to where it is as common to talk about that as it is to talk about diabetes or high blood pressure, that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
So
well, and I think that's where, the beautiful thing, like obviously it's a music podcast, not a mental health podcast,
But
but the
music
two
is
go
all
hand in
mental
hand.
health help.
hand
Yeah.
in hand.
They go
Yeah.
Yeah.
hand in hand. And so to me, we were just down since the first part of this podcast, since part one into part two. We were down in Flint over the weekend, and we're going to probably do a different podcast about that. But when May Estes was playing, she played a song that I've heard before, and it was like, just another song, like no big deal. And on Saturday night, it gut punched me for some reason, and I literally head on my hands on the seat in front of me, and I was ugly crying, like body shaking, like you know, crying out of nowhere, and it was like,
Tears down
oh,
the back of the guy in front of him.
right, yeah,
Music does that to me a lot. There are certain songs I can't even listen to. Bittersweet by the Zac Brown Band.
Mm,
I will cry every freaking single time I hear that song.
yep.
Shinedown's Daylight. It's
Oh,
just because luckily I have had people in my life that help me see the daylight, that knew or know, that I'm struggling, and they reach in and go, hey, what's happening? I feel like you're off. I see that something doesn't seem quite right,
hmm,
and reach out. But yeah, music definitely has the ability to gut punch you when you're not ready.
yeah.
oh
Well,
yeah.
and to me, that's the beauty of music, right? Is it elicits every emotion. There's no emotion that doesn't get touched by music. And sometimes, like for me, I love Jamie Johnson. That's no secret. That's my number one. I could see that guy every day of the week and never get old.
Hmm.
And every time he sings In Color, I know I'm going to cry without fail. I know I'm going to. I'm going to think about my grandpa, and I'm going to sometimes ugly cry, sometimes just, little
Yeah.
tears coming
Yeah.
down. And I'll still listen to it I don't shy away from it, because I feel sometimes like getting
Me
that
too.
out
You need,
is
yeah.
actually a good thing. And so when we aren't allowing music to hit us in all the feelings, we're really missing out on great opportunities that are healing. And that's what
Right.
happened, with May Estes the other night. That I needed that. And afterwards, I felt great. I didn't feel like I wasn't ashamed of the fact that I cried there, nothing. It was just, okay, all right, now I'm good. I'm back. I'm better now. Got that out of the way. you know,
Mhm.
I
let's
moved
move
I
on.
moved a couple seats down just so I didn't look like I was with him.
He's
Yeah,
lying.
you're right though. It is true that you need to let yourself feel that stuff. There's just, like, yes, I might turn it off, or I won't purposely listen to it, but if
Yeah,
it comes on, I let myself cry. Yeah. I
Right.
don't,
yeah,
I listen to the song, I let myself cry, but I don't seek it unless I'm like, I really need to cry. I just need to get this out, and that
yep.
I know will make me cry. and help release some of those emotions, which we all need to do.
Yeah. And
You know,
sometimes we need to listen to them like bangers that are just like,
right?
Get
I'm
you
going to rock
going.
out right now and get
Yes,
going, and
yes,
that's what's great about it is that, you can get all of the emotions, in one playlist really, or in 1 hour on country radio. You could be on a roller coaster of emotions,
oh yeah,
and then, be way down here and then back up here and back down and back up again. And that's the beauty, I think, of music in general is at the end of the day, obviously we love country music, but I grew up listening to West Coast rap and all of the grunge music. I went through a phase, alternative rock, you name it. I mean, I had a phase in my life where I was listening to the Bee Gees, which was well before my time, even though Jesse likes to pretend like it wasn't. And I think
You
all
remember when that
music,
group got together?
right? Yeah. So like no matter what genre of music you listen to, there's gonna be songs that touch your soul and just hit you with those gut punches or maybe lift you up, and that
right.
song puts you on its shoulders and it's like, let's go, we're gonna rock out.
Yeah, there's
Hmm.
a lot of those. I love when those happen.
Right.
I want to crank it up. Just, I love the message. I love the music. I love the whole package of the song. And yeah,
Right.
definitely. Music is awesome.
That's kind of like I don't know, Matt, if I told you about it, if you ended up watching it or not, but when Hardy did the mashup with Nickelback
Yeah.
on CMT, and they were sitting around and talking, and they were like, okay, what's your party song? And they've named for each other, and then what's your funeral song, what's your feel good song, and everything like that. And they just went back and forth naming it, and it was like that. And I was thinking right along with it what you guys were talking about, like throw on some Hardy and I can listen to Give Heaven Some Hell, where it's like you're tearing up, thinking about, your buddy up in heaven. And then, he comes back with like Sold Out or something where you're like, all right, rocking out, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely, like you said, hits on all emotions and every feeling out there. So that's where music is I think the most powerful thing when it comes to our mental health, not just as a disease, but as just life in general, like, keeps us level.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I cannot imagine a life without music. Oh no, that would be horrible.
Right, right.
Horrible.
And you've got friends obviously in the industry, having been in the industry yourself for, you know, back
30
well,
some years,
yeah.
36, 7. I lost track.
So, uh, speaking of those friends, something that we generally do on the podcast is our little surprise to whoever our guest is. I don't know if you've caught that on any of our episodes yet. So I heard a story about you playing Ding Dong Ditch at somebody's house party over and
Oh
over
my
again.
god. Yes, that did happen to me. I quite frankly remember very little, but I do remember doing that. I just kept ringing the doorbell and running away, and everybody's like, "What is going on here?" I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
had a
someone
little
kept
bit
coming
too
downstairs to the
much.
door and you were just cracking up.
I was having fun. I was
Yeah.
having fun. That's for sure.
that
That
was
is
a
a
that was a
story.
that was a story that wasn't supposed to be on radio, podcast, or anything. That
That's
you
all.
just
It happened a long time ago, and you know what? It was fun. I'm sorry that I was maybe just a little too inebriated, and I had so much fun doing it. The people at the party probably were getting quite annoyed that I
Well, the
wouldn't leave
person
the
that told
doorbell
us that
ringing.
story thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was at the time to me. It was fun.
So
I forgot
that's
about that. That was a good
that's
memory, though.
that's one of the things we like to do is bring that kind of stuff up and kind of catch someone off guard and take them to a place where it's like, oh, I haven't thought about that in a
I
long
haven't.
time.
Man, it's been a
And
long
long
time.
time. Long
you know the
time.
the whole idea from the get-go with this podcast is like we would either be at Jesse's house. He's hanging out in his man cave right now. We've got the same kind of setup at my house, and so whether they'd be up here, we'd be down there, we would just be sitting around having life conversations, talking about funny stories, things that have happened, and things of that nature. And
Shenanigans.
yeah, and it was like we want to when we talked about doing a podcast, it was like we want this to be a conversation where people are listening, because originally we didn't do video, but now it's video as well. But it's like we want people to feel like they're just hanging out here with us, having a real conversation about music, learning some different stuff about the industry from people in different aspects of it, whether you're an artist or a songwriter or both, or we want to have record label people on, having you on with the country radio side of it.
Just anybody in the industry.
There's so much that we don't know as consumers of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
for me, I want to know all that stuff. I want to know every aspect of it. Like when we talked, we had Jake Slay on, and when we were talking to Jake, I was telling him that I've always wanted to go to a writer's retreat and just be like a fly on the wall.
Oh, no doubt. That would be
and
really
just see
cool.
that side of it. And I said, even better, I would love to document it to some extent. Obviously, they're going to want to protect some of that stuff because that's future music coming out. But, oddly enough, Jake was like, listen, the next time the two of you come to Nashville, let me know. We'll set something up. We've got this house where we go to, and you guys would be more than welcome to do that.
Do it. That would
so
be so
one day,
cool.
that'll happen. And we just want to share all of, music with people from every part of it, whether it be the songwriting or be the radio side of it, or whether it be, a lot of times record label execs get a really bad name, right? That's not really a big secret in music.
Right.
But I would love to have a record label exec on and hear their side of things, and like what it's like for them being in that role, and know that they're kind of looked poorly upon at many times, and just share all of that with everyone, so that when you listen to music, it's more than just that feeling. It's like, a deeper appreciation of what goes
all into it. Right.
What I really like is the stories behind the songs. That's one of my, I love reading anytime I can get my hands on the story behind the song, how it was written, why it was written, where it was written, how long it took to write, how long it been sitting on it, who else was going to record it before they were going to record it. I just find that stuff fascinating.
Well, and we talked
to Drew Hale.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah. So we talked to Drew Hale about that. And I had asked him,
6 years or something, 7 years he sat on a song.
Yeah. But I had asked him, because he's a great songwriter and singer. But I had asked him, how do you feel if you write a song intending for it to be taken one way, but I listen to it and I take it a completely different way? And I was always curious about that. And he was kind of one of the first people I had an opportunity to ask that of. And he says, I don't really care, like, from that standpoint, how you take it, like, not in a negative way, but like, if it's,
you enjoy
if it's, you're right. If it's something that you feel and you connect to, and it's
meant
not my intention, I still love the fact that you connected with it. So even if it wasn't exactly what I had in mind, and you took it a different way, great. Own it in your way. Then if you love it, you love it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And there's so much music's so subjective. Every time you hear a song, it means something different to you. It means something different to you, and means something different to me. It just depends on where your mindset is at the time you heard it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you just hear it and it's just a song kind of in passing, and then you go to a concert on a Saturday night and get, karate kicked in the stomach and doubled over the chair in front of you
with a song you thought you knew the word. And then you get all the feels. Yeah.
So
I think it did help that when right before she introduced that song, she said, was there anybody out there that has lost somebody to an addiction? And then that was kind of her song about that. And so, it was kind of like, as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh no, okay. And
you know what? I don't even remember her saying that.
No. Oh yeah, she said that right before. Yeah, that's what the song is about to her as well, is that she lost somebody to an addiction, and then so yeah. pretty.
Yeah,
See?
I got so caught up in it that it's just kind of like all I remember is crying, and then I remember her going into the next song, and I thought she was going to go with a different one than what she did, and I was like, okay, good, I know where this is going. I can get my crap together, and then it was like, nope, she didn't go where I thought she was. Great,
Nope.
not better yet. So, but that's music, right? Is
Yep.
you get those feelings when you get them, and you don't when you don't, and sometimes you can control it, and sometimes you can't.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So
I want to.
now my turn to ask y'all a question here, because
Oh, here we
I know
go.
what my answer is. Now
All
on the
right.
country music side,
Putting us on the
what
spot.
would you say is your trapped on a desert island, can only listen to one song for the rest of your life song?
I'm going to name Matt's song. I know what it is. Do you
I'm
want to try to name my song, Matt?
God, I don't know if I could name the song, but I'm pretty sure I know the artist.
I got to think about it, actually.
I know for me what song it is. What do you think it's going
Yeah.
to be?
Oh, I think it's Jamie Johnson.
And what song?
In Color.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
I was going to say that too, but
Even
go
though I
ahead.
would cry, the entire time.
Every time.
It's
If
it's
you're on
a-
a desert island, though, you'd be dehydrated, so the tears wouldn't. It'd just be sand you're crying. So.
Dust tears, dust tears.
that song, I always think of my grandpa and love my grandpa to death, and you know, it's always good thoughts, but it's missing him,
Yeah.
and then you start
And
thinking
that
about
song's
those
so
good
well done
times.
and well written.
Yeah.
It's just a great story song.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jamie's the only guy that can pull something like that off, and then turn right around, at the Opry, and sing about cocaine and a whore, and not miss a beat, and
Right.
nobody question it, right? Like it just nobody. It's just like, oh, okay, well that was great, good songs, love it, and that's why I love the guy. He's just unapologetically him.
That's a
Right.
good thing, though. Jesse, what is yours? Or Matt, you going to guess what you think Jesse's is?
I think it's
Why
going
don't
to be an Upchurch song. I just don't know which one.
Is he
No.
right? No?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No. I would. I mean, that's a really hard one. I mean, that would be a good guess by Matt of something that I'm really into now, and that speaks to me for the last like 7-8 years that I've been following him. But I mean, if it was something, I would go back to probably something that touched me as a young age, and really actually kind of got me interested in country music. I was always dad always listened to classic rock, so I was always doing that stuff, and I have a few songs that I could go on there, but Garth Brooks Rodeo, for some reason that's just something that resonated with me from a very young age. Because I was very young when that came out, not like Matt in college.
Or me,
But
old
yeah,
man.
for some reason that song just is. If you were to go back and ask me like one of my all time favorite songs in country music, or even in music in general, that one right there, to think back on my childhood of some of the stuff that I listened to, that right there, right off the bat, that's going to be a song that I'll always go to. So.
Matt, do you
I
know
would
what
go with
mine
that.
is?
Do I know what yours is?
I mentioned it on the air.
I was gonna say, I feel like you've said this before, and
mentioned it almost every time it plays.
Come on, you listen. I don't get to listen to Susan as much unless I'm doing it on the internet, because it cuts off right about Claire.
It is a Garth song.
Is it?
Yes.
the dance.
Lightning Strikes?
Nope. It's Shameless. Even though I know Billy Joel originally did that, the Garth version is my absolute favorite song in the world. I just get so much feels from that song when he sings it. Just so good.
He's one of the few artists that I have not seen. So twice in this podcast, once in the first half and now once in the second half, I've not seen Kenny Chesney before either.
Nope.
We talked about Kenny Chesney in that first half of the podcast, and I've not seen Garth Brooks.
and you
I
haven't
didn't
seen.
until, oh my gosh, how long has it been now? 8 years ago? I don't remember. That was I got to meet him. It was just
Did you?
Nice.
it was a life. It was just an unbelievable moment. I
I'll bet.
will never forget it. It was
Yeah.
him and Trisha both,
Oh,
and it was
nice.
just me, my guest, and then there was a couple with their young son there who I wasn't sure was autistic or something. That was it. So they came
Oh,
in, and it
wow.
was just the five of us, and they couldn't have been nicer. It was just, oh, it was amazing. I will never forget it as long. I can't even believe it happened sometimes that I really got to do it. But yeah, he puts on, oh, what a show. What a show. What a
Mm-hmm.
showman. Mm.
Yeah. Well, he's on my list of people to see. Uh, and it's
Can't
just
believe
tough
you haven't seen
sometimes.
Kenny though. He's
Yeah.
like played it
Every
for
year he's
so
yeah.
many times. What do you
It
But
do?
he
just
has. I mean, it doesn't seem like in the last 15 years that he's been around Michigan. It doesn't
he's at
seem
Ford
like.
Field every year.
Is
Yeah,
he
he only
Yeah.
skipped
really
like
every year?
one. Yeah, he's played at Ford Field, except for around COVID, when all that stuff. But
Okay, really?
I think I don't know how many times, but he has played there quite a few times.
Wow. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
guess I
it's
did
it's
not
one of
know
those
that.
things that just has not worked out. I was talking with
Right.
another friend the other day about that one year Reba was at Interlaken,
Yep.
and it was I'm pretty certain it was either the Friday or Saturday of Faster Horses, and we had
Okay.
already got all that before Interlaken announced it, and it was like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, I would love to go see Reba, but I've already got these plans. And that's how the Kenny thing has worked out. Like, every time it's either been I had to work and couldn't get it off, or found out about it after I had already locked into something else. And
Hmm.
I don't have, uh, unlike our buddy Damn It Dan, I don't have the ability to waste money on concert tickets. Uh,
Who
Dan
does?
Dan does pretty regularly. He'll commit to
Yep.
going to a concert, he'll pay for a ticket, and then a day or two beforehand he bails.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
that's sad.
it's it's
Unless we
very
kidnap him and drag him out.
it's very disturbing to me that somebody would do that. So, like, even if I want to see somebody more, now I will change my vacation plans for a concert, which we did after COVID because we had tickets to see Alabama in Grand
I remember
Rapids.
that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you dropped the bad news on me at Interlaken that
Yeah.
it had been
They
canceled
put canceled.
again. And so then when they finally rescheduled that one that November, that was we were going to be in Tennessee for like 10 days, half of it in the Smokies and then half of it in Nashville. And we cut out one of our days in the Smokies because I wasn't missing Alabama. I had
Mhm.
already bought those tickets. I had been skunked the first time around because of COVID. Then the second time around, they had lifted the restrictions, but somebody in their road crew got COVID, and that one got canceled. And I think, that was supposed to be like a great week of concerts because it was Jake Owen at Interlaken, and that was like the day after the Emmett County Fair, and I don't remember who was there that year, but it was like it was going to be uh the fair concert, Jake Owen, and then Alabama, 3 concerts in 4 days, and I was
Mhm.
so stoked. And you're like, no, that was canceled. Mike was just telling me about it or something, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you're
Yeah.
lying. I didn't get an email. What are you talking about? And then I go and look, and it was like, oh man.
Yeah. That sucks when that happens. That
But
sucks.
we got
I just changed my vacation to see Jake Slay up at Odawa.
you did, yep.
Yeah.
They pushed
Yep.
their whole
Jake's got a new
vacation.
song coming out too. He
I
sent it to
know.
me. Did he
I would
send it to
say,
you?
yeah.
Oh, it's good. I'm gonna play
Yeah.
it next week. Yeah.
He's got another one too that he's recording today.
Oh, I think that's awesome. I just,
Yeah.
I like when we get the chance to see up and comers and then get to
Oh yeah.
watch them grow.
Yeah.
Like Nate Smith last year opening up
Yeah.
for Chris Jansen. Who'd have
Yeah.
thought that he's just
And
you
Nate
know
Smith is great.
Yeah.
playing all
Yeah.
these huge venues now and just killing
Yep.
it.
And
It's
it
awesome.
took him losing everything to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Great, backstory for country music, that's for sure. For writing
Yeah.
lots
Mm-hmm.
of material. you
Yeah.
know. But
Well,
yeah,
and fortunately, we've got venues in this area that bring a lot of good music. You know, considering how far removed we are from big cities and things
Right.
like
mhm,
that,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not. We're not like, oh, we're just going to stop along I-80 somewhere and do another show. You know, on our way to Des Moines or something.
right.
It's That's a long damn way out of the way to come up here and play for us anywhere around here. And the fact that we get some pretty damn good music at, you know, a pretty wide variety of venues, we're extremely fortunate, you know.
Yeah, I feel like it's getting better too, as far as that goes, and them being able to book acts in different venues
Hmm.
around northern Michigan, so we have
Yeah.
access to it, which is nice.
The one thing that I've talked to Matt about this as well too. Like the for anybody outside of like your listening area, we did, Emmett County Fair, it was not even on my radar, even though I'm from Traverse City myself.
Mhm.
And, I didn't even know that they were bringing in acts until, I met Matt and he was like, yeah, who do we see? I mean, see Chris Jansen, Nate Smith, year before,
We had Chris Young one year. We had,
Chris Young,
yes, we had,
You
or
weren't here
Tyler
for
Farr.
Chris Young. Tyler was
Farr was
Sheboygan.
at
yeah, Tyler
Sheboygan.
Farr was at Sheboygan.
Right. But
Yeah,
just it's not for being, like you said, so far removed. It's awesome that you bring awesome acts up there, but for everybody like Central Michigan and lower, like we know you never even hear about that stuff down here. I think that I don't know if it's because you guys don't want all these city folk coming up from down south to
it's not.
to pack the
It doesn't have
concerts
anything to
out.
do with us. We do.
Right.
We
Yeah, you guys, yeah, Big
the
Country promotes
venues.
it all
Yeah.
the time, but it's like, why aren't there other, places around that are
Well,
advertising,
I mean, part of the problem is there's twofold problem. Part of the problem is you have to, you pay
right, right,
or do some sort of ticket trade. The other problem is some other stations might cut out other stations because they don't want them to be involved in their show.
right, right.
So the word doesn't get spread
Yeah,
um, anywhere,
right,
except for, you know, right outside your back door. So,
right,
I
right.
mean, but we
Yeah,
won't
well,
go into that whole story.
there's some gang
That's a
warfare
different
between the
side.
radio
That's a
stations.
different
Well,
side of the
and
music
it's not, and it
industry.
doesn't have to be. We all love country music. Let's just promote country music. Why can't we
Right.
just all promote country music? There's enough
Absolutely.
people listening,
Right.
So this sounds like Anchorman. What character would you be, Susan?
I don't know. I don't know.
She has to be Ron Burgundy for sure.
Whatever.
Head honcho.
This is the news.
No, and that's unfortunate, you know, but I get it, right? Because radio is a business too.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And you guys want all the listeners you can get. You're already competing with streaming, you know, you're already competing with other stations in your market, you know, so the last thing you want to
And
do
you're
probably
competing
is
with the things people pay for, like Sirius and all that stuff. That
Right.
forget
Right.
it. I'm never paying for that. So I'm
so
sorry.
so and here's what I'll say is I'll admit to that. I have Sirius and I stream
Sell
and
out.
I listen to radio. I no, I love music that much. And so sometimes
Go ahead.
I'm gonna listen to the highway just because they
I was
might
gonna say the
have
highway's about the only one.
some newer stuff on there. But no, because sometimes I want to go old school and I want to listen to Tracy Lawrence honky tonking, you know, and
Yep.
or I
Yeah, I
want to
get
listen to
it.
Willie's Roadhouse or whatever, you know, and I think that there's enough options in music for people to get, you know, their music wherever they want to. I don't I couldn't ever see myself just getting music from one spot. Like there's not a snowball's chance in hell that I'm going to be a diehard Spotify person and not listen to anything else but streaming stuff. There's
Right.
not a
Yeah.
chance that
There's
I'm
so many
ever going to
options.
listen to just Sirius XM. I
Right.
want the local feel. You know, it's kind of like you watch the local news, but you also watch the national news. And so you get your news other places. Like, why can't you get your music other places? And, you know, if you're going to, you know, obviously be a big country listener, it's no doubt that I listen pretty regularly. I mean, anyone who watches this that listens to Big Country is like, I've heard that idiot call in before, So like that, there's no way you could say that I'm not a listener. But sometimes it might be late at night and I'm driving and it's like, oh, I want to put on this show, or
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
I want to listen. Like in the morning, I'm going to listen to Big D and Bubba. That's my routine. I don't care what's on Sirius XM or Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
I love those guys. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to Big D and Bubba in the morning, and I'm getting that from Big Country. I'm not getting that from Sirius XM. I'm not getting it from Spotify or anything like that. So same with on the drive home. On the drive home, I know that you're going to be on the radio, and I'm listening to Susan in the afternoon on my way home. Greg,
that's why I always tell people, because our mobile app has all of our stations. I've lost track. 8, 10, 13. I don't even know anymore. So you can go from station to station, but when I promote it, I go, because I know a lot of people like Big Country Gold. They like the gold, the older stuff. Throwback Thursdays, a huge favorite. But I say, go ahead, but please come back. There's a lot of options. I appreciate that you're listening now, and if you do go somewhere else, go ahead, but please come back, because we like having you around.
Here's a tip for anyone listening on the app, though: you're never going to win a contest.
Nope.
Oh, because of the delay. Tell people there's a slight delay on the app. Sorry, words out. Yeah.
Same with on the laptop, because I couldn't get Big Country to come in on the radio at work, and didn't matter where I put the radio in the office, it just was not coming in. And it was like, oh, it's fine. I'll get online and I'll play it from their website.
On the stream. Yeah.
And so then I'm just like, okay, we'll take caller. And it's like, no, that's done. What do you mean it's done?
They just threw it. How can it be done already?
Greg was like, we already announced the winner already. And what? I'm not caller 6. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, it's posted on our website that there is a delay when you try to win a contest, but we can't do anything about it, really.
Right.
It's just, that's just the way
it's part of technology.
You
just got to be someone like me that has a buddy up north that's listening live while I'm listening to the app to get the music, and then he texts me like, call now. It's on right now. You haven't got to it yet.
That's a good idea. If you know somebody who's listening to the radio or whatever through whatever.
I may or may not have done that a time or two.
Well, it's because he knows that I'm listening on a delay to it. So if it is a contest, then usually it's like they're announcing the contest, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't win," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
the contest that they're announcing. And then I hear it like 2 minutes later, like, "Oh, caller number 9."
Yeah. Jesse's down in Moose Country.
Yep.
Okay, Moose Country.
Yep.
Good station.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I listen to the Moose until I get about to Houghton Lake, and then I switch over.
And we do the same thing on the way down. When we're going to their house, we lose. A lot of times we'll lose it about Grayling.
That seems, it depends on where you are, on the highway or whatever, but that seems to be about where it starts to lose.
On better weather days, though, or sometimes in the winter when the leaves are all gone, I don't know. I swear that we can get it longer. Like there's
absolutely. Because of line of sight. What kills me though is there's another Big Country 102.9 downstate, and we will get calls. I'm calling to win the yada yada tickets. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. They'll be giving something away. I think it is W4 Country. I don't even know, quite frankly. No, it's Big Country, but it used to be W4. But it's Big Country 102.9. So if they
that around Flint?
I don't know what city it's in. But if they Google to try to find the phone number to Big Country and we're the first one that comes up, they use our number. And then I actually wrote the other station's number down and put it in the studio because I'm like, you're calling the wrong station, but here's their number. Good luck winning the contest.
Right. You're too late already.
Yes, probably.
It might be in the Flint area because when we got in the car to leave the hotel Sunday morning, my station was still on Big Country and country music was playing when we got in the truck. And Megan's like, look at It's 102.9 and we're getting country music.
Yeah, not us,
Huh.
but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, you
there's a
can't
lot
be
of us.
everywhere. And
Yeah.
we like that we have you up here. We don't need to share you with Flint and
Well, thank you. I
everyone
do
else,
like
but
it.
so yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it up. We've stole a ton of your time. Thank you
No
for
worries.
coming on and talking music and talking mental
Yeah.
health and sidewalk chalk and doorbell ditching and
Thanks
you
for
know.
the memory. That was pretty awesome. That's funny. I love it.
So yeah, we've got some other stuff coming up in the future. Anyone that's watching right now, we've got a couple more artists in the works that we're talking with their management teams to get them on here in the near future. And we're gonna keep bringing you guys people from the industry like Susan Melton from Big Country 102.9. Gonna
Yep.
keep bringing you artists and talking real life stuff with real people.
I appreciate it. I really do because I think it's very helpful, both talking about the music and the mental health.
Absolutely. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks
Yep.
for coming on, Susan, and we'll catch you all next time on
Y'all
Y'all
need music
need
podcast.
music.
Yeah.
Yep.